Okay, so let me introduce, let's say myself is Mia. Company is SL Software Solution, Sena Berhad, and my position is software consultant. And then what did you eat for breakfast? I ate roti sardine this morning. Okay, and then what do you expect from today's training? So I hope that you can see the e-invoice features lah. Okay, how to submit standard e-invoice, consolidated, and also self-built e-invoice through AutoCount. Okay. For today's course outline is, firstly, I will show you the AutoCount e-Invoice mechanism, okay? And then the crucial part is the AutoCount pre-invoicing setup, okay? So what setup that you need to do before you start the e-invoicing, okay? And then we'll show you how to submit the standard e-invoice, consolidated e-invoice, self-built e-invoice, and then lastly, to show you the function of the interim relaxation period and submission error, okay? And then we'll go through the frequent asked questions. Okay, so firstly, AutoCount have created an AIP server, okay, that connected to the LHDN e-invoice server. So all the systems in AutoCount will send all the submission at our AIP server first. Later on, only send to the LHDN e-invoice server. Okay, so these are the benefits lah. So because it is run 24/7, so let's say the LHDN e-invoice system is run down. Okay, so you still can submit. It will save at our AIP server. When the LHDN come back to normal, it will auto submit to the portal. Okay, so it will protect the double submission. Okay, all the TIN that collect in the AutoCount, other AutoCount user also can retrieve the TIN information. Okay. Okay. So as you all know, that LHDN has created a two mode. Okay, for MyInvoice, which has the live portal and Sandbox portal. Sandbox is for testing lah. Okay, for today's training, I will show the e-invoice features that is revision 27. This is the latest version lah. Okay, so if you are a version that is lower, let's say 24 or 23 or 20, that one the function for the setting is a bit different. Okay, so later on you can ask our support to upgrade lah your AutoCount to the latest version. Okay, so for AutoCount, we also can link to the live portal and the testing portal, which is the Sandbox lah. That is called pre-pod, if you have heard lah. Okay, so you go to e-invoice setting. So here is the setting that we need to link with the MyInvoice portal. Okay, so I need to remind you that to link with the live portal, you use your real data, your real account book. But to link with the pre-pod or the testing mode, I highly advise you do not use your real data. Okay, need to create a testing account book and then link to that pre-pod, to that Sandbox if you want to do for testing. Okay, so for creating that testing account book, you can ask assistance from our support group. Okay, so as you can see, now my account book is in AIP staging. So this AIP staging is linking with the pre-pod. Okay, so for the real account book, this one, it is in AIP production. Okay, for real account book is in AIP production. Okay, so for e-invoice setting, to register the MyInvoice portal or the pre-pod, okay, that one you need to get assist from your accountant lah, okay, or you can do by yourself. But from our side, we can help linking that MyInvoice and that pre-pod to the AutoCount. To do the linking, you go to e-invoice, okay, and then e-invoice setting. Okay, so here you need to enable the e-invoice. You go to setting here and then enable the e-invoice. Okay, so you need to check when is your e-invoicing implementation will start. Okay, as you all know, that is news from LHDN that it has been postponed, right? Okay, above 5 million will start 1st January 2025. Okay, 1 million to 5 million will start at 1st January 2026. Okay. Okay, and then below 1 million will start at 1st July 2026. Okay, so if you have put the start date to 1st July, okay, you can edit here lah. Okay, you change from 1st July 2025 to 1st January 2026. Okay. Okay, so once you enable the e-invoice start date, okay, you can tick allow interim relaxation period. Okay, so the interim relaxation period is 6 months. Okay, so if you start 1st January 2026, okay, so the interim relaxation period is until 30 June 2026. Okay, and then here you need to tick allow to create consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so if this option is turned off, then every invoice must provide a tax entity so that it can be submitted for e-invoice. So for those industries that is not allowed to consolidate, such as automotive, okay, that's selling car, they cannot do consolidate, right? So they cannot tick this one. Okay, if you are business that is under that industry that not allowed to consolidate, you need to untick. Okay. Okay. So another function in the auto count on the latest version, it can use today's date as submission date when document date is not a valid submission date. Okay, so let's say your document is backdated more than 3 days, you still can submit on that day. Okay, so later on I will show you how to do the submission. Okay, the sample of the backdated e-invoice submission. Okay, so in this one you can tick, and then the latest version also can set the default classification code. Okay, so let's say all of your item, your stock is not categorized in any of the category classification code provided by LHDN. Okay, you can set it to 022. Okay, which is others. Okay, so this one you can set for all your items, so you don't need to set one by one. Okay, and then here also have a new function, which is auto email validated e-invoice setting. Okay. So, Miss Angie said that don't have e-invoice on my system yet. Okay. So, Miss Angie, you need to make sure that you have upgraded to the latest version, okay, which is 2.2. Okay. But if your version is lower than my version, which is not revision 27, okay, the e-invoice is not at here. Okay. Sorry, I go out a while. For the version, if any of the participants, the version is lower than mine, you need to enable first, only can see the function. You go to Tools, Option, and then go to Country and Tax. And then here we'll have a new tab, which is for e-invoice. And then you click that tab e-invoice, and then you need to enable e-invoice. Okay, I cannot show you because my version is higher lah. Okay, for the latest version, the invoice dia sudah bawa keluar dekat sini. Okay, but for lower version, the invoice in here. You need to enable first lah. Okay, so I continue back. Okay, so for the latest version also, there is a function that is have auto email validated e-invoice setting. Okay, so if you enable this, okay, this one, that is you can submit the e-invoice. The system will auto submit the e-invoice to your client, okay, after it has been validated. Okay, means you don't need to print out and send to your client, or you don't need to WhatsApp. It will auto email to your client. Okay, so here you can tick, and then you can choose which format that you want to send to your client. Okay, if you have your existing format and then have put the QR code, and then you can choose that format lah. Okay, and then here you need to get the assistance from our support group to link your AutoCount with your Gmail. Okay, so that once linking, you can direct submit from AutoCount. Okay. Okay, so this one is update e-invoice code list. Okay, so this button is to update any additional code that provided by LHDN in future. So you just click this button and then it will update the code list. Let's say LHDN got updated the country code, the classification code, the MSIC code. You just click this button, it will update in AutoCount. Okay. Okay. So here is for the enable the e-invoice setting. Okay. Clear? After enable, another step that you need to do is you need to update your company tax information. Okay. So here, e-invoice status, you click this button, activate e-invoice on AIP server. Okay. Firstly, once you already registered to the MyInvoice portal or the pre-port, okay, you will get the client ID and client secret. Okay, once you register the ERP. Okay, so that client ID and client secret you need to paste here. Okay, and then you also need to update your company tax information. Okay, so you click this button. So you need to add your company TIN lah. Okay, so for your company is business, your company TIN, company BRN, MSIC code, okay, business activity descriptions, registered name, phone, okay, make sure the phone is in this format, +6, no space, and no dash, okay, email address, postcode, city, state, and country, okay, so you need to fill up your company information, okay. So this is the two steps that you need to do for enable the e-invoice setting and then to link your AutoCount with the MyInvoice portal. Okay, just now I already show you how to update the e-invoice, enable the invoice and invoice start date lah. Okay, so that is the first step for the e-invoicing onboarding. Okay, so next one is update the buyer or TIN information. Okay, and then later on I will show you how to update the data classification code for your item and product. And then we'll help you update unit measurement code, but this one is optional. No need to update also can, still can submit e-invoice, but the classification code is compulsory. Okay, and then lastly is to update currency code for those business that have import or export. Okay, so is the first step clear about the e-invoice start date? Okay, so I will show you the next one is update the buyer TIN information. Okay, sorry, Miss Angie, should be like this. For the version that is below 27, here got the country and tax, and then go to e-invoice, okay, and then you enable the e-invoice, okay. So this is for the lower version. For the higher version, go to the setting that I showed just now lah, okay. So now, to update the tax entity, there are few ways lah, okay. So you can choose which ways is match with your practice, okay. So firstly, I will show you how to update it manually, okay? And then how to search from our AIP server, and then how to send the link to your buyer so that your buyer can fill up their TIN information. And then you can load in your AutoCount, or you can import by Excel. Okay, so now, to update the tax entity, okay, so actually here in AutoCount, after you enable the e-invoice, means have the invoice function, there will be a new function here under tax, which is tax entity maintenance. Okay, so here is all the TIN information saved in your AutoCount. Either it is your company TIN, it is your client TIN, or for your supplier TIN, all TIN is saved in here, maintained here. Okay, so to add the TIN for your customer manually, okay, as usual, you go to debtor maintenance lah. Okay, AR debtor maintenance. Okay, so let's say this is your customer, SL Software Solution, Sendirian Berhad. Okay, you go to edit. Okay, all your customer information here. I don't have the phone number. Okay, so to add the TIN, here have a new column, tax entity / TIN. Okay, so here actually you can choose lah which TIN. But if you haven't add the TIN yet, you can add here, add new. Okay, when you click add new, it will load the information. Okay, business, okay, category is business lah. If your customer is individual, you put individual. If it's government, you put government. Okay, and then the BRN will auto load if you fill up in here. Okay, and the phone number also will load lah if you update here. Okay, so let's say you have your customer BRN, okay, but you don't have their TIN. Okay, so AutoCount have a new function, which is it can search the TIN from the MyInvoice portal. Okay, here have the search button. Make sure you fill up the correct BRN lah. Okay, the new BRN, and then you click the search button, and then it can get the TIN from the MyInvoice portal, and then it will auto fill up in this column. Okay, so for your client that you already have their TIN, you just add new, and then make sure you got the BRN. Okay, and then you just search the TIN, and it will load here. Okay, for MSIC code, you can ask from your client lah, what is the MSIC code. Okay, but if they don't know their MSIC code, you can put 5-digit 0. Okay, later on I will repeat again. Okay, and then the business activity description, okay, is follow the MSIC code lah. Okay, so let's say if the MSIC code, if this one, so it will auto put in here. So you need to check if your client, what is their MSIC code. Okay, and then this is your registered name. And then phone number. Okay, make sure got +6. Let's say +6 015 2215. Okay, no space and no dash. And then email address, and then address. So for address here, you only put the first 2 lines. Okay, the postcode, city, state, and country you need to fill up in their column below here. Okay, so this is how you want to add manually, and then you click save. Okay, so this one I cannot save because I already added lah. Okay, if you haven't added yet, you can click save. Okay, so I repeat again. So you go to this chapter. Okay, here he doesn't have the tin yet. Okay, so you need to go to edit. Okay, here have a new column. Okay, text entity or tin. So you click this down arrow. If have the tin, you can choose here lah. Okay, but if haven't have yet, you need to add new. When you add new, all the information, if you have filled up here, it will auto fill up at the text entity here. Okay, so here, make sure you fill up the new SSM number, BRN, from your customer. Okay, no need to put the new and old SSM, just the new SSM. Okay, and then you click this search tin. This search tin will search the tin from the MyInvoice portal. Okay, and then it will auto fill up. Okay, and then MSIC code, you need to check with your customer lah. What is their MSIC code? Okay, registered name, phone number, okay, +6, and no space and no dash. Email address, okay, address, only the first 2 lines, and then postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, so this is how you want to add. So let's say this one already add. Okay, so if already add, make sure you choose the correct name lah for this client. Okay, so that is the first step. How about if the debtor or creditor are in business, but they only provide the individual tin? Cannot. If you want to bill, if they request for their company, e-invoice for their company, they need to give their company tin. Okay, if they give their personal tin, that e-invoice will be their personal expenses. Okay, not their company expenses. Okay. Okay, for cash sale, I will explain in the cash sale part. Okay. So that is the first step lah if you want to add manually. Okay. So as you can see here, have a new column, right, for tax entity ID. So this is, you can drag out lah. If your current listing doesn't have this column, you can drag out by right click the header and then go to column chooser and then you drag out this tax entity. So let's say this one doesn't have. You drag again the tax entity so that you can see which company already loaded, which company haven't loaded the tax entity yet. Okay. Okay. So now, I want to show you another sample if you want to search from AIP server. Okay, if you want to search from AIP. If let's say your client also a customer for another AutoCount user. So that supplier already add up their information in the AutoCount. So their information also submit in our AIP server. So other AutoCount user also can retrieve that information through our AIP. So how to do it? You go to edit. Okay, let's say this one doesn't have yet. So you go get tin from AIP server. You tick this one. Okay, so to search from AIP server, there are a few ways lah, either by company name, tin, or BRN. Okay, if you want to go by search by company name, make sure you fill up the full name. Okay, and then you click search. Okay, and then if have, you can select and then add to text entity. Okay, and then all the information will load it, and then you can click save. Okay, so this one I cannot save because I already added. Okay, so this is for another step lah. Okay, but let's say the customer that you search in the AIP server is not exist. Okay, so let's say this one global company. Okay, you search by one global company and then no result found. Okay, means their information is not yet updated in our AIP server. So you want to manually ask your customer, or you can go for another way, which is send link to the buyer. Okay, how to do this step? You tick this one, request company tax information. Okay, so it will prompt like this. Okay, you need to fill up your email. Okay, so this one you want to put your company email or your admin email. Okay, so that once the customer fill up, updated, it will get notified in this email. So you choose which email to be notified lah. Okay, and then make sure your customer company name is correct, and then you tick this one, get link. Okay, please make sure all the entries are correct. Okay, and then you generate. So once you generate, you can copy this requested link. Okay, once you copy, you can send by WhatsApp or email to your client. So once your client open, it will open up like this lah. Company tax information request. So their company name is filled up here, and then they need to fill up their email. Okay, choose their classification, business lah, and then fill up their TIN, BRN. Okay, this one can skip if don't have, and then update their MSIC code. Okay, business activity description, phone number. Okay, address, postcode, city, state, and country, and then tick here and then submit. Okay, once they submit, you will get notified in your email. Okay, so once you get notified, you will get like this lah. Okay, so this one actually I already filled up lah. Okay, once you get notified, you just get in from AIP server. Okay, when you click this one, it will auto prompt the information that your customer already filled up. Okay, so you can click save. Okay, and then once save, it will auto load here lah. This one because I already added lah. Okay, so this is how you want to send link to your customer and then get in your AutoCount. Okay, so the last, okay, another one, actually the send link to the buyer have a two-way lah. Either you want to send the link one by one, or you want to send batch in batch. Okay, so let's say you don't want to send the link one by one. You want to send the link for all your customer. Okay, so let's say I add a new customer. Okay, and then I put my email. Okay, so how to send the link by batch? Okay, you go to find. Okay, and then you click search. So here we'll load all your customer lah. Okay, and then you need to check all. Check all, and then you click here, batch get in. Okay, are you sure you want to batch get in the following debtors? And then you click yes. So it will open a new window, which is batch get in. Okay, so by default, it will exclude all the records with link and exclude all the records with tax entity. Okay, so if you untick, it will show all the information lah. Okay, but this one you need to tick lah because you don't want to send a double link, okay, to your customer. And then here is your notify email lah. When the customer already updated, which email that you want to be notified. Okay. Okay, so if you want to set the auto reminder, you can tick this one lah. Okay, but if you want, you just untick. So for this one, after you get your customer, okay, if don't have email, you also can add the email here. Okay, and then you need to generate request link and send. Okay, once you generate, you can see the log file. Generate request link success to send generate link by email success. Okay, so we show you here lah. Okay, if fail, it will show fail. Okay, so once your customer already fill up, you can tick this one lah, retrieve and update the tax entity. Okay, if they untick, you might not get the information. Make sure your customer tick that the share one lah, this one. Share your company tax information to allow other AutoCount users to search your company in AutoCount accounting software. Okay, so just remind your customer to tick this one. Okay. Okay, so this is how you want to send the link lah. Okay, once retrieved, it will show the text entity here. Okay, and it auto load for your customer. Okay, so you can choose any of the way to get your customer key information. Oh, and the last one is import by Excel. Okay. So for import by Excel, you need to get the Excel template from our support team lah. Okay. After you fill up, you can send back to us, and we will assist you to import back in AutoCount. Okay. So this is the last one lah. So for this import by Excel, let's say you already sent to your client manually. Okay. So you want to fill up by yourself, so you can use this method lah. Okay. So you can choose which method suits you the most lah. Okay. So I repeat again, to get the TIN from your customer, there are a few ways. Okay, first you can add manually. You can edit the adapter, and then you can retrieve the TIN from the uh, MyInvoice portal. Let's say if you want to get for individual, okay, let's say like you put for individual, same also. You put the My Card. Okay, let's say this is the IC. You click the search button, and then it will retrieve the personal TIN lah for this customer. Okay, this is for individual. Okay, for business, make sure you put the new SSM. Okay, so another way is to search the TIN from the AIP server. Okay, you click this search button. Okay, get TIN from AIP server. Okay, if the second method cannot also, you can send link to your buyer. That is the third method lah. Either you want to send link manually, okay, through here, or you want to send link by batch, you go here, find, select all, check all, and batch get TIN. Okay, our last step is to send by import by Excel. Okay, so there are the few ways for getting from your customer. Okay, so now let us go for the classification code. Okay, remember that at the beginning of the training, I got show you that we can set the default classification code, right? Okay, so that is for the business that all the items all using the same code. Okay, so you can choose that code lah. But if your business have different item have mixed code, okay, because if some of you don't know what is classification code, it is not an item code, okay, it is a classification code for tax purpose provided by LHDN. That is around 45 code, okay, which is a 3-digit number from 001 to 045. Okay, so these are the code lah. Okay, 025. So 022 just now is for others. Okay. And then 036, lastly 045. Okay. So I can show you a sample for a phone business. Okay. I'm selling phone lah. Okay. For selling phone, you can see for computer, smartphone, or tablet is fall under 003. Okay. So how I want to maintain my product? Okay. So here I go to stock item maintenance. Okay, so here are my stock lah. Okay, you can see in my business, I also sell phone accessories. Okay, I also sell phone, laptop. Okay, but for this laptop phone is under 003. Okay, but for this accessories is fall under 022. Okay, take this one lah. Okay, so if you want to edit manually, you go to edit. So here has a new column, classification. Okay, so you go to 003. Okay, so this is the classification for phone. Okay, so you can see this classification code is not an item code. Okay, your item code is really the same. It is a new classification code that you need to update for LHDN purpose. Okay, so here is how you want to update manually. Okay, so this is how you want to update manually. Okay, so another step is you can update by batch. We call it easy edit. Okay, so to update it by batch, okay, let's say this group of phone all under the same group phone. So I want to set all to 003. Okay, so how to do it? You can go to find. So you search the keyword phone for the item group lah. Okay, so I search all the item group under phone, and then you check all. Okay, am I too fast? And then you check all, and then you go to easy item. Okay. After you go to easy item, here is where you can edit all the items here lah. Okay, but I want to update all the classification here. Okay, I don't want to update one by one. So how to update all? You need to select all. This one is to select all. Okay, this blue button is to select all. And then this red button is to range set. Okay, after you click this blue button, you click this one. So it will prompt range set. Okay, and then range set, you can choose which column that you want to update. But now I just want to update this classification. So you tick this one, classification, and then here you change to 003. Okay, and then you click apply. Now all already changed to 003. Okay, once you updated, you need to click save. Okay, and then after you save, you need to click here, refresh lah. Now all my group of phone already updated. Okay, so actually for those the item that I didn't set, the default is 00022 lah, because I already set here. Okay, just now at the beginning here, we can set the default classification code. Okay, kita set lagi. Okay. So another way, the last method is import by Excel. Okay, so for import by Excel, you can get the template from our team. This template. Okay, and then there is a column for classification code. You can update, and then we can assist you import back in AutoCount lah. Okay, so that is the step how to add the classification code for your item. Okay, so item classification code is a requirement for submit e-invoice. If you didn't update the classification code, system will prompt some details missing classification. Okay. Okay, so actually in this slide, if you have this slide, kan, you boleh masuk itu link. Okay, so in this slide, we have, you either can check in our slide, the table just now, okay, or you can scan this code. Okay, this code will bring you to the MyInvoice portal. Okay, in this MyInvoice portal, got the classification code, country codes, currency codes, e-invoice type, MSIC code, all the codes have there. Okay, if you want to check, you can check at there lah. Okay, so for manufacturing company, you need to check back with your accountant what is the classification code for your item. Okay, after the classification code is the unit of measurement. Okay, so like I said just now, classification code is compulsory. Okay, but unit of measurement is not compulsory. Okay, Malaysian got provided many UOM lah, unit of measurement. But if you didn't update also, still able to submit to LHDN. Okay, you can use your existing UOM. But if you still want to update, yeah, I can show you how to update it. Let's say this item, edit. You go to others. Okay, when you edit the item, you go to others, and then here have a e-invoice measurement. So here got all the measurement from LHDN. Okay, so you can choose which UOM lah. Okay, but if you didn't update this, also still can submit. This is just optional lah. Okay. So next one is update currency code. So for the currency code, you need to check back either your currency code got follow the LHDN code. Okay, because LHDN got provide the code for this currency code. So if your system is not following the code from LHDN, okay, you can change the currency code lah. Okay, so let's say for currency code general maintenance, okay, and then go to currency maintenance. Okay, so let's say this one is CNY. Okay, currently you use CNY, but if I'm not mistaken, now already changed to CNH, right? CNH. So how you want to change the code? You go to tools. Okay, you go to change code. Okay, and then change currency code. Tools, change code, change currency code. Okay, you add the code. So you find the code, let's say the CNY, and then you change to CNH. So you need to check back lah, okay, which is the correct code that you need to use. Okay. So this is how you want to change the code lah. Okay, for this code, you need to check back with the LSTM portal. Okay, what is the correct code that you need to use? Okay,